Hi, I just got the idea to talk to you again. It's been a while. I've been very busy because now the third novel in the Pekka Wall series, The Triumvirate Murders, is ready and it's about to be released this Saturday, 6th of December. It is a good day to release the book because it's the Independence Day of Finland. Finland got independence 1917, and since then we have been sovereign nation next to the Russia, which we really don't like much. But that's the fact. I'm living in New Zealand, which is 17,000 kilometers away from that borderline, which makes me really, really comfortable here in the middle of this eternal summer. Actually, now it is summer here in New Zealand. Everything blooms, it's beautiful, but it's not very hot yet. Hopefully it gets warmer. But nevertheless, we never have snow here, so that's a big bonus. But back to the Independence Day celebrations in Finland. One of the traditional things there is the President's Independence Day reception, which is a huge ball at the Castle of President in the heart of Helsinki, next to the Market Square. About 2,000 people are invited every Independence Day there, and then about 4 million people in Finland, basically all, they are watching on TV how the queue is slithering from the door to shake president's and his wife's hand. I don't know why it is so interesting, but it seems that every Finn is watching that celebration and those handshakes. 2,000 people shaking president's hands, and we watch. And then there are those journalists who tell who is shaking president's hand at any time, and telling who has a red dress or who has blue dress or something in between. It has puzzled me since I was a small boy and we started to see those televised Independence Day programs. But nevertheless, I got the idea that it's a very good place to start a murder mystery. So my murder mystery, Triumvirate Murders, it kicks off at the President's Castle celebration, where Tuomas Ylivire, in this novel, 25-year-old red-headed catastrophe magnate, and his fiancée, Pekka Wall, 60-year-old or a little more than 60-year-old editor, they have been invited to the party, and it didn't go as president most probably planned. But if you buy the book, you will see what happens there at the president's castle. And after that, the body count started to pile up. So it is a murder mystery. There are plenty of murders. But it's also a story about family values. It's a story about loyalty. It's a story about love. It's a story about finding yourself. There is a new character, Jorma, who is a young junior detective at the Finnish police. And I couldn't help but fell in love with that character because he is genuinely Finn. He is so Finnish that sometimes when I was writing about him, I was just smiling because Jorma is Finland in many ways. But you will see if you read the book. So now I have written this year 3 books. The Birthmark Murders came out from April this year. Then Handful, the coming of age story of Tuomas Ylivire, I published it in September, and now that this one is third one, Triumvirate Murders. And to be honest, I am tiny bit tired. Writing 288,000 words in about 1 year and 3 months, it was not something that I planned to do. But those characters, those plot lines, those things started to just demand me to sit on my ass and write and write and write. And it has been unbelievable experience, because when I had been writing these books, the whole 6-book bigger arc has been very clear from the very beginning. When I started, I really had the idea to have 6 books, because that's the amount of books I needed to tell the whole story of Mr. Pekka Wall. And then, you know, it grew and grew with the other characters. But the main thing was that I needed to capture some essential aspects of Pekka Wall, and it was not enough to have just 1 or 2 books. I just realized that there is 6 in this character. So I'm now halfway through. The 4th book, the Marae Murders, is now underway. I am the big plot lines have been there since very beginning, but now I'm just fleshing out, you know, details before I really start to write any scenes, because my work routine is such that I need to first have the really comprehensive idea of the big arch, and then plot lines, and I often plan also to the detailed scenes before I start to write. And it speeds up things, because then I know what I'm gonna write today, usually from 1,000 to 3,000 to 4,000 words a day, and it keeps me going because I know where I'm going, even though it is like cleaning road after a snowstorm. You never know what you're gonna find there, but at least I have this road in my head, even though it's, you know, covered by snow of the future. So I just, you know, shovel it away and find things on my way. And when I write scenes, I write them so that they have already the structure I planned, which makes editing much easier, because like Triumvirate Murders, when I started to edit it, I realized that I didn't need to basically change not a single scene. I didn't need to change the structure. I just needed to focus on tiny details, and my beta readers and proofreader Kathy, who is just God sent, I think she had 6 or 7 tiny comments about the final version that went to the Amazon. So I have learned to be very economic and really put my time where it really pays off. So now the 4th book takes the reader to New Zealand. So the first 3 books they were mainly in happening in Finland, but the 4th one, Pekka and Tuomas, they are traveling to New Zealand, where a couple of quite edgy and terrible murders happen. And in that book, I have the opportunity to actually look New Zealand from a distance, like I've been looking Finland from a distance. And looking New Zealand from a distance has revealed me quite a few things. For example, the deep-rooted colonial inherited bias and systemic racism that still is here, even though we as Kiwis we tell that this is the least corrupt country in the world, this is the least racist country in the world, blah blah. And what I have seen, it's not exactly that. But those biases and bigotries are cleverly hidden behind sophisticated surfaces. So the next book is going to dive deeper in those layers of the society that have not been much talked about. So that's coming. So now, 3 books later, I can honestly say, hand on my heart, that I have kind of found my, if you like, calling. It's been decades in the making, but suddenly everything that I have done in my life have started to come together. First the theater, or actually I remember that I was about 10 or 11, 12 when I scribbled little books of poetry and short stories, and I imagined how they would look uh, as printed books. So these books have been in me in some weird way. So the theater gave me the education of how to think about dramatic arc and how to build scenes, how to for example, say something through dialogue without really mentioning it. So those things have been really important lessons from the theater and reading plays and directing plays. Then it came to the business when I was running To The Point Ltd with Tatu in Finland, and I learned that the ropes of business, those ropes almost hanged me. So that was important part of the life, and observe and see what is happening in that part of the life, if you like. And then when I became a father 2002 when Marius was born, and watching this wonderful little thing growing in the wonderful young man he now is, has been again something that I didn't expect to experience and learn from. So, and the last 19, 20 years here in New Zealand, being an immigrant coming from totally different culture in this melting pot, this multicultural strains, heaven on earth, which has really a lot of snakes and not too many, apples for Eve to eat. It's been interesting to be immigrant in a cult. It's funny, I'm white, and if I don't open my mouth, people can't usually tell that I'm immigrant from somewhere else. But when I open my mouth and people hear my accent, it brings to the surface interesting things, like nicely put discrimination. And I would have never thought that I would be discriminated because of I'm white old bloke. And that has been interesting thing to see here in New Zealand. Being an immigrant, like one general manager of one big government agency I was working for, she told me that unfortunately your thinking is not on the level of blah blah blah. And I was a bit puzzled, because I thought that I was quite well equipped in that sense. But it was based on pure the fact that in her thinking, immigrants didn't really deserve to be called Kiwis. That's again interesting thing. But well, these things happen almost, I think, in every country. But as an experience, it has been really good to realize that, okay, always if you are an immigrant, if you are in a culture that you were not born into, you will face discrimination. You will face situations where you have been kept away. But all those things come together in my work as an author. When I write murder mysteries or coming of age stories or whatever I write, it comes together because without those experiences, I would not have the tapestry that I have now in my books. And because I'm a lazy bugger, I don't want to do too much background research. So this has been fantastic life to live, and then use everything I have seen and observed and experienced and use that as a material, and then I don't need to do too much work. I can just focus on writing and not background research. So that's now very long rant. I see that it's now 16 minutes. Congratulations if you have managed to watch this far. But I just thought that it would be good to have a little bit of a reflection of the year and writing and everything. It's been a wonderful year. I have enjoyed every minute of it, and I hope that next year is even better. And I hope that you will have also fantastic next year. But before that, Merry Christmas. Enjoy the Christmas wherever you are. Read my books. It pays back, and at least it pays my rent. And then next year you will get the fourth book in the series of Pekka Wall. So thank you for watching, and like I said, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year 2026. Bye.